Man, when it comes to anything in life, you gotta understand that there are levels to this shit. So when it comes to semen retention, the same rules apply. Now today we're gonna be talking about the different levels when it comes to this whole game of retaining your seed. Now this is something that I've talked to with people that I work with, to people in the server, to people in the comment section, low-key indirectly, but not really addressing the fact in full detail. So I decided, hey man, why not make this video? Because a lot of people ask me about this, a lot of people hit me up about this. So why not break this bitch down real quick like a brick for y'all? Now, don't get it twisted. If you've watched my video about the 6 stages of semen retention, that's something else. This is the levels to semen retention. Now we're gonna go over how it can be applied to your life. Doesn't matter where you are in life, doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter if you've done retention before, it doesn't matter if you're 10 years into your streak. This is something that can directly apply for the people out there that are trying to pursue this path. So starting off with the first level, we got to understand that this is basically ground zero. No, actually, matter of fact, it's negative. It's fucking negative. This is where you're addicted to fapping. You're a coomer. You're a chronic coomer, a chronic chicken choker. Midnight aggressive chicken choker. You're fapping on the daily, maybe fapping on the weekly, maybe fapping on the hourly. I don't know, bro. You can get twisted out there. And I'm not trying to shame anybody if that is the position that you're in, because, bro, the whole world is out there trying to get you to just release your seed, forget about your masculine essence, and just mold into that certain type of fold that's going to be easier to control. But nonetheless, this is ground zero. I don't know, my bad, negative. This is negative. You are essentially draining your seed, draining your life force, just kind of doing fuck all with your life. Because usually the people that are chronic fappers, that are chronic masturbators, are not going to be as driven, as ambitious, as purposeful as someone who is retaining their seed. Why? There's so many things about this you can check on my main channel, but essentially that is like your battery as a man, to your spiritual battery as a man, to go out there and fulfill your purpose. Not only to fulfill your purpose, but even before that, to figure out your purpose. Because without one, what are you going to work hard towards? You know what I mean? There's a lot of things out there that life is the material world is trying to tell you that is purposeful. Like, okay, get super rich, do this, do that, which is fine. It's great, cool. But there's a different layer to that, a deeper core, essential layer that you will never find the purpose to that if you're always kind of just blocking your connection to your source, which is your seed. Now, this is not even a level that you should be kind of like participating at, because you know how bad this is. You watch my channel, you're on the second channel, you already know that this is not the life that you want, this is not what you deserve. So getting past that is the next stage, or the next level, which is maybe ground zero, but to me it's still negative, because I made a whole video about this on my main channel as well. No fap versus semen retention, which is better, the final answer, and I broke it down over there. But that is considered to me the next step on this evolution. This is where you quit out the wanking, you quit out the porn, you do all that stuff, which is amazing. Props to you for doing that. But the bad part about this, which I explained in that video, is that usually you don't start to transcend your lust. You start to just fill it in with something else. And when it comes to nofap, you start to fill it in with trying to chase women. You fill in masturbation with just using someone else's body to masturbate with you. So you aren't really going out there to date, to go find someone that you really want to build a meaningful relationship with. You're going out there trying to get same thing, trying to get your nut off, trying to get your rocks off, just trying to bust. So while for some people it might seem like it's a step in the right direction, it also can be seen as a lateral step. It's like, okay, I'm not doing this, but I'm still kind of in the same range, but I'm doing something that's considered better. Which to me, like I just said before, the porn, great, bro. You need to cut that shit out. But just filling it in with something else like that, like lusting over women, just trying to bang as many chicks as you possibly can, wasting your time on these dating apps, wasting your time at these clubs, wasting your time in these degenerate environments, doesn't make you less of a degenerate, even though porn is probably considered lower in most people's subconscious minds. To me, it's there's cons that are specific to both. You're exchanging energies with somebody else that you don't care about, that you don't know what they're doing, because most of these girls out here, when it comes to those environments, are getting ran through like a goddamn track meet, and you don't want to be sticking yourself up in that. That energy will stick to you on a spiritual level, on even a psychological level, on a just overall something that you don't want to do. While on the other side of it, porn is just basically a fucking energy harvesting tool that these fucking industries use to basically just milk you like a goddamn cow of that masculine essence, making you into a very docile human being, a very just fucking zombied out. You don't got nothing to do, you ain't got shit to work on, you're just fucking, you're basically a crack addict, but your crack is fucking your next hit of that dopamine rush that when it comes to porn. So there's evils to both sides of it. There's bad sides to both sides of it, but that's usually the next step along this way. You learn about No Nut November, no whatever the hell, no fap. You get into these self-improvement communities that you're like, okay, man, I don't want to watch porn anymore, but I'm trying to become alpha, bro. Yeah, I'm trying to become top G, man, top G. Let's go out there and bang all these girls, bro. Cause you know why? Cause I'm top G. So after a lot of people get stuck in that. A lot of people are stuck just on the porn level. Then some people elevate and get to that level and then get stuck. But the next stage is when you start to understand about semen retention, whether it's through a YouTube video, whether it's through a book, whether it's through a friend, whether it's just life in general, smacks you in the face and tells you, hey, the power of your seed is actually something far beyond what you may think. Like, it's your creative source of energy. It has the ability to create another new human being. Why the fuck are you wasting it on a couple seconds of pleasure, whether that's wanking to a screen or chasing around these women and going crazy over the box? This is when that kind of shift takes place. But this is the level I'm going to consider is called semen retention. Semen retention. You retain your seed. But a lot of people, when they get into this stuff, they start to understand that they're not really transcending their lust even to that level. They've got it onto the next level. They understand the importance of preserving their seed, but then they get into the general norm, self-improvement, semen retention content about female attraction, this and that, blah, blah, blah. But they also understand that they want to keep their seed. And this leads over to like guys trying to get into having sex without releasing their seed, non-ejaculatory orgasms, tantra. Tantra is like on some deep spiritual stuff. It's not what you might have seen promoted on social media and stuff like that if you're into the semen retention path. But it's still, to me, even on that level, you're not transcending lust. You're just trying to find a loophole around it. And while yes, it's going to be better, you're probably going to be practicing this with a woman that you love, that you actually are trying to build a relationship with, that you're actually maybe going to raise a family with. That's okay, I get it. But for the guys out there, younger guys out there, my age, younger than me, maybe a little bit even older than me, if you're not in the position that you want to form a family, form a future with this woman, you're just trying to get your sense of pleasure gratified, but also retain your seed at the same time. So you're kind of doing this with like not random women, but women that you aren't going to consider part of your future down the line. That's kind of you're finding a loophole. pretty kind of smart, but it's also gonna bite you in the ass some way or another, because it's not the fact that you're just retaining your life force. That's one point of it, but also it's your level of consciousness gets heightened. It gets heightened to a level that you're not thinking with your lower nature. I'm 3 years into this of the next level that we're gonna talk about, but even me, I'll have states where that I go back to those lower states of consciousness that taps you back into your animalistic nature that just wants to go and bang any broad out there, bro. If you see some cheeks, you see some what's it called, pretty faces, this and that, bro, it just turns that on, bro. And especially if you're on longer streaks of retention, you're out in the sun, you're eating a good diet, you're working out, your testosterone is going to be increased more than these guys out there that are just already in that state. So you can easily get just funneled into that zone where you're like holding the spiritual side of you that wants to elevate, but also you're like in an internal wrestling match between your animalistic nature and your spiritual nature. A lot of people, goddamn, are just stuck here. They don't even know about this. They don't know about the spiritual side. The people that are just chronic Kumars and the people that are practicing NoFap usually don't know about the spiritual side, but you know it. But you also still want to indulge in those pleasures. And again, like I said, if you're on that path of actually seeing a future with that woman, this and that, look into it. Like I don't personally practice this. I don't really recommend most men to practice this unless you're what we're talking about right now. You see a future with this woman. You know that this is your partner that you actually want to explore life with. Then go, by all means, go for it. There's like Mantak Chia's books. There's like that is a Taoist method. There's also the tantric methods, this and that. So that is the level of just semen retention. You're just retaining your seed, but some people can go play around with still indulging in these sexual practices. But the next level, which is something I'm personally practicing, which a lot of people that fuck with my content are, maybe you are, it is what I would consider pure retention. You are purely retaining. It's you're celibate. You're completely celibate, but you're not at the highest level, which is something that we're going to talk about coming up. And this is where you understand everything I said before. You're on that spiritual path. You see something bigger and just more profound when it comes to this practice. Not just, okay, we get the tangible benefits of just increased energy, mental clarity, focus, this and that. You already, the whole gist. You see more of the spiritual side of that. You see how it's elevating your sense of consciousness, your mystic perception. You see the connections in life. You see the different avenues and aspects that bring you to that God state, that Godhead. And that's something that you want to really look into, pursue, and eventually experience and tap into. That is what pure retention is going to get you into. It isn't the full-fledged of that, which we're, like I said, we're going to talk about, but it's how close we can get to that in the modern society. Like I'm out here in the field, in the flesh, with the Fulani, but I don't live in the jungles up in the mountains. Like I live in the modern world, in a society, in a city. Like I can't completely, I would say, get rid of sexual thoughts, sexual stimulations, sexual impulses. Like I'm using social media. Doesn't matter how well I can use it, how well I can configure it to only show me the things I want. Sometimes there's gonna be something like an ad pop up, this and that, bro. Like those sexual stimulations are gonna go in your brain. This is still pure retention. You're trying to keep pure thoughts, you're trying to keep pure deeds, you're trying to keep pure actions, but you are still not fully renounced from all that stuff. You're still operating within this world, which is totally fine. This is what I recommend for the majority of men out there, until eventually you find that woman, if that is something that you want to pursue. Some people don't want to be celibate their entire lives, and if that is the case, wait till we talk about the next thing. But for that, it's basically your best way to practice this to your best extent. Because if you go with the no fap method, you're gonna go out, try banging all these girls, you're still gonna be releasing your seed. If you go with the other method of tantra, of like non-ejaculatory orgasms, you're still gonna be in a state of lust where you're gonna be looking at women, you're gonna be looking at girls like this and that, and you're gonna be wanting to satisfy your sexual urges and your sexual senses. You don't raise above them, you don't transcend lust, you're kind of just finding a loophole to them, that you don't really get to tap into the higher levels that come with pure retention. So that's what I would say is probably the most effective and most profound way you can practice this. Full-on celibate, cold turkey. You ain't really trying to do all this tantric stuff. You ain't really trying to do the go out, find like if you're past no fap, you're not gonna want to do the whole fucking clubbing scene, fucking finding random thoughts to go boink. But it is not the easiest method. It's not the most practical method for guys out there. Like if you're just on that level of semen retention below this, by all means, man, rock with it, rock out, get to your bag and get busy. But if you want more, if you want to actually experience truly what this practice is about, to my extent, because I'm not on the next level above this, then this is the way to go. So that next level is what is known as brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is the ultimate form of semen retention, the ultimate form of self-mastery in itself. So this is something, think of monks. This is brahmacharya. They're full-on celibate. They're up in the mountains, they're up in jungles, they're up in caves, and they're strictly just meditating, strictly just like working out, strictly just working on their spiritual connection to God. And they use their life force to connect them further and further and further down it. They are basically completely overcoming their lust, completely transcending it, and renouncing it. Renouncing the material world, renouncing sexual pleasures, renouncing all the things that act as a form of separation to that single source of God that we're all innately connected to, but are losing that ability to tap into with things like all the distractions and the Maya, the illusion, the matrix, that just keep us operating at the lower states of our consciousness. You can end up at higher levels. I think pure retention gets you at higher levels, but to get to that final level, it's basically renunciation. This is like, you see this only very scarce in the world, bro. And these people become what is known as spiritual giants. Jesus, Gandhi, Buddha, different saints, sages, yogis, all these people, bro. They become so tapped into that source that they're basically like an antenna with the bucket hat on, bucket fulati, for God to speak through them, because they've so cleansed their physical body that they're not even like attached to it. If that makes sense. They're like, they know so much to the point where of the fact that they're like a light being inhabiting this body, that they're just completely just tapped into that source, and that they just, all their actions and deeds and everything like that are unified with God. Brahmacharya, I think in itself means following God, or uniting with God in Hinduism. So that is the ultimate form of it, bro. If you think you're on that level, bro, I don't personally think I'm on that level. Maybe later on in my life, when I got everything figured out, I've kind of beat beat the game of life on the physical terms. Maybe I pack up my bags, hop on over to a cave, and just cook, bro. Just cook. Maybe that's not my path. Maybe that's your path. But that's the ultimate form, bro. Because I see people here sometimes talk about it. Brahmacharya, it's not the same as semen retention. It's not even the same as pure retention. It is the ultimate form. Dude, sexual thoughts and stuff like that, bad thoughts, whatever the hell, don't even come into their mind. They're so tapped in, so pure to the point that they're literally a spirit just kind of inhabiting this plane, waiting for their turn to go back up to the spiritual realms and go where they belong. We all belong there, but your spirit has to vibrate and ascend to that level to eventually go back. So with all that saying, man, I just want to point out that each and every step along this way, other than being a straight up Coomer and maybe even nofap, it is applicable to each and every one of your lives. If you just want to practice what I mentioned as semen retention, go for it. Which, if you want to practice pure retention, which I recommend, go for it. If you want to take that to the next and ultimate final level, Brahmacharya, I hope you find a cool cave. I hope you find a cool place to kick it at, because in the modern world, bro, I think it's damn near impossible to get to that level. They can come down from their hermitages, monasteries, ashrams, and this and that, and still be in that state while in this society, in this environment. But they first had to go up there. I think it's for 12 years in certain traditions that you have to completely renounce to fully self-realize that state. So I don't think it's practical for most of you motherfuckers out there to do it in the world, in the material world that we live in the society, cities, etc., etc. But if you want to prove me wrong, motherfucker, prove me wrong. I don't know how we're gonna show any evidence that you're not having any sexual thoughts, but I'm telling you, as a person 3 years onto pure retention, 3 years straight, and I'm not saying that as a flex, but not many people out there on this YouTube platform, this and that, are actually serious about it enough to go 3 years and beyond. I still will go through sexual thoughts each and every single day, bro. Each and every single day. I learned how to not attach my actions to them. Like, if I'm having one, I'm not gonna go act out what I'm thinking. My brain still entertains it because of the environment. I guarantee if you put me and a lot of other people, even if they're on semen retention or even on nofap, or even, matter of fact, even on watching porn, if you take all that stuff away from them, put them up in the mountains, put them up in these places where they're kind of secluded, where they kind of have to practice Brahmacharya, they eventually will find that path to Brahmacharya. So these are just things that you need to keep in mind when you're trying to practice semen retention, is what works for you, what works for your lifestyle, what works for the path that you're trying to pursue. Because I can recommend something, but if it's not for something for you, then dude, don't listen to me. Who the fuck am I? I'm some guy on YouTube talking to a camera in the middle of a fucking in the trees. You know the answers. You know what kind of life path that you're trying to pursue. And hell, maybe it might evolve over time. Maybe you start off on this level, then you elevate to this. Maybe you go all the way up to there, which if you go all the way up to Brahmacharya, I don't think there's no point of return. But if let's say you go up to semen retention, you go up to pure retention and you come back down to SR, strictly SR. It might just go like that, bro. So don't look at me, don't look at other people, don't look at these super highly evolved saints and think that I gotta follow exactly what they do. Follow what path works for you. Don't bullshit yourself and say, I'm gonna go with the easiest path, the path of least resistance, just because I don't wanna put myself through that discomfort, through that purpose of actually trying to elevate myself, which is gonna be, it's not gonna be easy, it's gonna be simple, but it's not gonna be easy, just to stay in my little comfort zone. don't do that. But what you should do is find out what works for you, because this practice, to me, like I said before in my 3-year update, is a must for any man out there who's actually serious about this road to self-mastery in some form, in some capacity that we just laid out. You should be practicing sexual discipline. If you're doing no-fap, bro, you're probably not on the path to self-mastery, but maybe later on down the line, you will. If you're just a coomer right now, bro, you will get to that point if that's something that you actually want to pursue. If it pulls you more to that path than just being a degenerate, than the instant sense of gratification you get from these destructive habits, you eventually will get there. I promise you that. Like, a lot of people were practicing retention were first coomers. Then they went on no-fap. Then they went on semen retention. Then they went on pure retention. Some people, off the jump, depending on where they're from, go straight to brahmacharya from birth. That's where we see those spiritual giants. But that ain't you. It's all good, bro. See? It is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. But with all that said, man, that's going to wrap it up, bro. That's the different levels of semen retention. So figure out which one works for you and just get out there and get busy, bro. Because it's your boy, What the Fulati, out here in the field, in the flesh, dropping y'all that game so you guys can make these gains. And I'm out of here. Peace.